to the Binge List. I'm your host, Paul Chappell, and today we conclude Loki. Episode 6 of the first season. For All Time Always is the name of the episode. And let me just say right off the bat, people, I know I sound excited, but knowing what I know now, I was a little bit underwhelmed by this series. I thought it was going to be so much different. I thought Loki was going to be some kind of agent of the TVA originally. I mean, maybe that's just my fault for having high expectations, but I thought the plots were going to be such more intricate than they were. So let's get into the plot a little bit of this episode. In the last episode, Sylvie enchanted the smoke monster, Eliath, and she's able to gain entry to this castle at the end of time. When they go into the castle, they meet up with the guy who's pulling all the strings, and he's a black guy. Now, usually when we see the man behind the curtain, as we saw in Wizard of Oz, as we saw in The Matrix, as we saw in the show Lost, there's always this man behind the curtain, and he's usually a white guy. So, like I said, this is the most revolutionary thing they could have done, making it a black guy. But we know he is King the Conqueror, because when he's explaining to Loki and Sylvie who he is, he pretty much says that some people call him a conqueror and other people call him these various names, but the names he likes the most is He Who Remains, which is also a character in the Marvel Universe. So they basically combine King the Conqueror and He Who Remains, because He Who Remains is actually one of the heads of the TVA from the comics. And yes, I was wrong. Last recap, I said that I didn't think they were going to integrate King the Conqueror, but I guess they need a villain for Phase 4. This pretty much set up the Multiverse of Madness. And I've read that the actor who's playing He Who Remains, as they call him in this episode. In fact, you can look up the actor on IMDb, Jonathan Majors, and it clearly says in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, he's going to be King the Conqueror. He explains that he was from the 31st century. Again, this is, if you look at King the Conqueror's background, he was also some kind of scientist from the 31st century. So we have all the confirmation that, yes, this is King the Conqueror. But he tells them that he was one variation of many, and he kind of opened up a rift to these other multiverses and interacted with other versions from himself. Some of those other versions wanted to take over all the multiverses and conquer them, leading to this multiversal war. So he was able to conquer all the other variations of himself with the help from Eliath the smoke monster. I don't exactly know how he did that. They don't really explain it. But yes, he was triumphant over the other variations from himself, variants if you choose. Ultimately became ruler of the sacred timeline, and he created TVA to oversee it. He gives Loki and Sylvie a choice. Either they can kill him. Killing him will have some consequences. It would open up this multiverse of madness. It will create several Nexus events if they decide to go that route. And they're going to have to face him as an adversary if they choose to do that. Or he can retire and they can run the TVA. Now, this would usually be a no-brainer for Loki, right? That's what he wants. He wants to rule. I mean, if we've learned anything about the other variants of his self, is that they all want power. And the head of the TVA is the ultimate power in the universe. They can't even kill him right away because he knows what's going to happen. He knows everything. He's seen all variations of every timeline, and he knows what is going to happen before it happens. So they can't kill him. He has that much power. But at a certain point, he tells them that he doesn't know what's going to happen. And they cross that threshold, as he calls it. And Sylvie, of course, her whole life has been about revenge. Never about rule. And so in that way, she is a unique Loki. One of the benefits of this show is that we're going to get her, I think, in the future as a separate character from Loki. I'm excited about that. She is a good actress. I'm really liking her. I read somewhere she's the most popular person on IMDb right now. So Sylvie kills Kang the Conqueror. Right before she kills him, though, she transports Loki back to the TVA. Meanwhile, Mobius has been talking to Renslayer, trying to get her to come on his side, but she leaves the TVA. So I'm fully expecting her to be another character we see in the Secret Wars, the Phase 4 that we have coming in the next installments of the Marvel Universe. We do find out at the end that the timeline has been changed, because when Loki goes back to the TVA, Mobius doesn't know who he is. He looks over to one of the statues that used to be of the fake timekeepers, and the statue has changed into Kang the Conqueror. Obviously, we have been set up for Phase 4, and that was the whole purpose of this season. But that's not all. There was an after credit scene, and in that scene, as you can see here, it says Loki will return in season 2. So yes, we're going to get a second season, which is kind of unusual considering the other shows we've had so far. And I'm talking about WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It seemed like those were one and done. But yeah, we're getting a second season. What the second season will be about, I have no idea. I'm really excited about that. Hopefully they'll do a little bit more with the characters. I'd like to see Sylvie again, and I hope I didn't find Loki particularly that interesting. I think the character works better when he's scheming. He worked early in the season, but I think he got really soft when he fell in love with Sylvie, because when they are making the choice of what to do, he kisses Sylvie and tells her, look, that we can rule together. And no, she, like I said, she pushes him through the portal back to the TVA, and she kills Kang because she's just not that into him. And I said that in one of my earlier recaps. She's just not into him the way he is into her. I almost feel like he's never actually had a real romance with a woman. So yeah, I was underwhelmed. Not to say that you shouldn't watch this series if this is the first recap you're watching that I've done, but it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. I guess considering that was only 6 episodes, that, it's pretty good for what time they had to build this series. But on the whole, like I said, I was underwhelmed, and I just was looking for something different than just a setup for the multiverse, and just a redo of the show Lost. Because if you remember, in the finale of Lost, we found out that the mystical being who controls the magical island, he also wants to find a replacement. And that's the same thing that Kang the Conqueror presents to Sylvie and Loki. So, yeah, it's a rehash that we've seen many times in many variations. So, I was disappointed. But maybe they'll get it better in the second season. We'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, that's all I got for today. I'd like to thank my subscribers and encourage you. Hit that subscribe button. Give me a like. Comment down below. Tell me what you think. Did I get this review right or wrong? Do you agree with me? Let me know in the comments. And please, ring that bell if you're already a subscriber so you know when my next video drops. And I will see you when I see you. Thanks for watching.